Okay, so this is going to add my audio to the stream, but then I have two cameras, unfortunately. So how do I get rid of the other camera? I probably do this. There we go. So you can probably see me, but not hear me, right? I mean, hear me, but not see me. All right, cool. So it's probably working now, right? Okay, great. Okay, you guys don't need to see me anyway. As long as you can hear me, that's fine. So what I'm talking about here is the opportunity to create your own pre-alignments in SubAligner. This is a pretty new big feature that I've been working on, and it's mostly just for me at first because I wanted a quick way to just add one-off pre-alignments. So for example, in SubAligner, I already have everything from the L-Acoustics preset guide, but they just came out with a new product, and that new product just got added to the new preset guide and updated. And so I just want to be able to add that pre-alignment really quick. And so my question for you guys is, do you also want to be able to do this? Do you need a place where you can create your own pre-alignments or edit your own pre-alignments? And so I'm going to show you a demo of how to add one, and then we can sort of chat about how you might use this in the field, what features you think it needs, and things like that. Or maybe nobody wants to use it. I feel like most people come to SubAligner with the intention or with the desire to just get fast answers, right? You come to SubAligner because all of the pre-alignments are already done there for you. But there may be something you need that's not there yet, and you need it tomorrow, or you need it today, you need it immediately, or you just want to make your own custom thing and you don't want to have to ask me to do it. Because right now the only way to get things into SubAligner is for me to do it. So yeah, so I'll show you a demo and then you can tell me what you think. So here we go. I'm adding a pre-alignment here of these guys, the L2 with the KS28. So I've got the models here and the presets, and I just started filling this out, and I was just saying that you know, there's this long list of values here, and so probably this list needs a search, because you can, I'll just show you down here, if you click into a field you can type L2 and that takes you down to the L's, and if you're here you can type L dash and that takes you to L acoustics. But when there's not something in the list, you might still be wondering, you know, where is it? Is there an L2 in here? I'm not sure. I don't know, so maybe these lists need a search. Anyway, you start filling these out, brand, model, preset, and you want to copy these directly from the manufacturer's website or from their documentation, because as soon as you add this, it's going to go directly into the database for everybody else to use. So you don't want to accidentally, you know, misspell something and then have it be there and then somebody has to go and fix it. So I just copied this directly from the website. This one's super simple, but you know, some of them are longer and more complicated. And then I'm going to copy the delay values here from the L2 owner's manual. I'll put those into the form here. And now what is the gain? Now it doesn't say here, as far as I can tell. I didn't read through every page of the owner's manual, but a lot of times in the L-Acoustics owner's manuals, it will tell you, you need this many KS28s for this many L2s. And so I did email support at L-Acoustics to ask them what the official settings are. But I think if we look at these photos up here, we can at least get an idea, and then I can go back and fix it later. But if any of you guys watching know what the official ratio is of L2 to KS28, you can tell me. But we see here that there's just this pictogram here where there are 2 L2 and 4 KS28. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. So this makes me think there's a 1-to-2 ratio, right? And we're familiar with that ratio. A 1-to-2 ratio would be a 6 dB offset. So if we need 2 KS28 for every 1 L2, then if we only have one of them, then we would have to turn up the subwoofer by 6 dB. So what I'm going to do here for the gain is just go over here and put a 6 in. Okay, that might not be correct, but I can go back and change this later if necessary. So no speaker notes, but this is where you could write in all of your EQ settings maybe, or your, not amplifier settings. There's actually amplifier settings that are not revealed in this form. So that would be another thing that I would ask you guys. Do you think you would use this? And if so, are you using speakers with amplifiers? Do we need amplifiers on this form? Because then you could fill out the form and put the brand model for your amplifier. But the reason that I added speaker notes is that some people have, complicated custom presets for their speakers where they need to write out like every filter, right? Maybe you have 5 different filters, you want to write it out all here, so that's where you could put that stuff. But I don't know if I necessarily need anything here. It might be a good idea to read through this entire user's manual and see if there's any information here about the speaker relative to the alignment that I might want to put in here. Okay, let's add the second speaker. I'm sure I have KS28 in here. I do. I just typed the letters KS28 and that brought that up. And then what is the preset? So this is a new preset that I'm sure I don't have yet. So I'll need to add that. So if I go to KS28, I see that there's not any KS28 space L2. So I'll add a new one, but I'm also noticing that none of the presets on there have brackets. So I'm going to follow that convention that I've been using, and I'll just remove the brackets here, which makes me wonder, should I also remove the brackets from this one? So I'll just try to keep this clean, keep everything the same, and I'll remove the brackets. That looks better. Okay, so this is the sub. We already know its delay is 2.5 milliseconds, which I read over here, and polarity is both positive. This is official pre-alignment data from the manufacturer because I'm getting it from the manual. And what are the pre-alignment notes? Well, this is any information about where I got it. So I feel like this is a really good place to put where I got this information, which is L2 Owner's Manual English version 2.0. That way, if anybody's ever wondering, is this the most recent data, they'll have it there. So this is where you could add more sources. Why would you ever want to add more sources? Well, you might be doing an alignment that has like a main, a sub, and then like an infra sub, right? So a sub that's just covering like some of the very low frequencies. But let's move forward. I'll go ahead and save this so you can see what the My Pre-Alignments page looks like. And so here's the one we just saved. Here's a test one that I did earlier. You can see that I just kind of wrote in a bunch of test values. But here, all of that data is really tiny. It's just been converted into a long string. So we can see it's got my brand, model, and preset data, plus the delay and gain values that I put in. So I'm going to zoom out, and now we could open this and use it. And so that means if I just put in all matching values here, then we would go straight to the results page, and we would see, hey, this says 2.5 milliseconds, and that is exactly what we got over here, 2.5 milliseconds of delay on the sub. So the next time I'm in the field and I need to use this, then I would go here and either go to the position page and fill out all the information about the sound system, or I could just come straight to this page and say, hey, I've got 8 of these at a distance of whatever, and I've got, I need twice as many, right? 16, let's say I don't have 16, then it'll give me a warning. Or yeah, let's say that I have only 14 and the subs are a little bit closer. So then it's going to combine that distance offset with those pre-alignment values and give me a delay value here, a final delay value. And hopefully this makes sense to us. Hopefully this passes the gut check, because we see, oh, our mains are farther away than our subs. If our subs are closer, then they need even more delay. And then once we get over to the balance levels page, we see that we need to turn our subs down by 0.8 dB. So not much, right? But we see that that is calculated for us as well. Okay, so that's the entire process there, where you can go from basically creating your own pre-alignments to using them in the field. So it could be really fast. The fastest situation would be if you say, you show up in the field and you say, oh, I'm using this and this speaker, and you can either call the manufacturer, or you can look up the information, or you have the preset somewhere. You can get the information. If you can just fill this out real fast, then you could use this immediately in the field, right? So I'm curious, is this a feature that you guys would like to see in SubAligner? Number one, do you want me to make this public? Because right now this isn't public. This is only visible to me because I'm the admin. So I have admin access to this menu and this menu and this menu. This isn't public yet. I just made this for myself so that I can add things quickly. But if this is something that other people want, I will try to develop it to make it more, a little bit more user-friendly and easier to access. Okay. Yeah, so if you guys want to type in the chat any questions that you have or any suggestions, I'm curious if you would like to use this, and then what changes or features you think it needs. So I'll show you a couple of other things. We go back to my pre-alignments page here. Right now you can only open this or delete it. So I did this test one earlier, so I can go ahead and delete that. But I might want to be able to actually edit these, right? So I could put another link here that says edit, and then you could open it again and make changes to it. And in fact, I could make it so that you could clone any pre-alignment. So let's say that you go to just do a pre-alignment from scratch, and you're going to do something with the QSC speaker here, and you're going to combine that with something else. And then you find the pre-alignment that you want here, and then you could potentially clone this. And you could say, hey, I want to make my own version of this. So you click clone, and that would take you here. And then you could just make some changes and say, you know what, I like this preset, but I want it to be 6 dB quieter. I want it to have 2 milliseconds more of delay. And then you could start creating your own custom presets that you like as you use these and find that you want minor changes. And I just feel like it might also allow for some creativity. You know, you can make these things your own instead of just relying on me to be the source of truth in these matters. So the reason that I have function 1 open here is, I don't know why you would do this, but this is an example of where you might want more than one source. So here in the function 1 crossover settings page, let's say you wanted to combine an Evo X with a BR118, then you've got the sub here, so you could put all of this information in. And, you know, for example, then you could copy and paste all of this information into the notes page, for example. You might want to, remind yourself that the high pass filter, so you could put in here like high pass filter Butterworth 24 or whatever. Is that Butterworth? It's a funny way to write that. I usually see it like this. Anyway. But you could also put in all of these other sources. Now that doesn't make a lot of sense because most of the time all of these other speakers, these other drivers are in a single enclosure, right? So unless you're going to take them out and move them around, you don't really need to put all of these into SubAligner, but you could, right? So there's an opportunity here where you can say, hey, I'm going to put all of these in. So I'm going to add another source here. Oh, and it's stopping me because I have to fill this out. So before you can add another source, you actually have to fill out all of these little fields first. So maybe that's another feature that we would like. It would be nice to be able to add a source without being forced to fill all of these out first. But that's something I would have to look at. So, you know, it's in one way kind of a simple idea that you can just create your own pre-alignments. The same thing you could do, you know, in a spreadsheet. But this would help you keep track of them and then also be able to quickly use them in the field, combine them with distance measurements, and of course I'll also be able to, you know, set the speed of sound, and then you would just see them show up in the list of alignments. So yeah, let me check the chat and see what you guys think. That's such a funny question. So Charlie says, can I put this on the screen? Show on stream. So Charlie says, how much can we trust the company specs? I don't know who else you can trust. That's not a good answer. Let me give a better answer. I think the best answer is probably trust but verify, right? So if you need to know now and you need to use it now, then I would just go with whatever the manufacturer says. But ideally, you get that information from the manufacturer and then you try it out yourself. So let's say that we wanted to verify this information from L Acoustics. So they say that there should be 2.5 milliseconds of delay on the sub. And I have had people tell me, hey, I don't really like the presets that L Acoustics suggests for A and B, right? For combining two sources. Great, make your own, right? So you should test this out. You can set up your L2, set up your KS28, and see if you like the way these sources combine. You can audition the pre-alignments. And I guess that's another great thing about maybe creating your own pre-alignments in SubAligner, is that then you could create various variations, right? So I could have this one, that's the manufacturer's one, and then I could clone this, or I could make another version of this, where I say, hey, I don't like this 2.5 milliseconds because that does this and it creates this shape and I don't like the way that sounds and I want more filters on mine, or something like that. Whatever you want to do, this could be a jumping off point for you to then create your own custom versions of that, right? So then you could clone this and you can say, hey, I'm going to add 5 milliseconds in a polarity inversion, and then I like that alignment better and I like the results better. So yeah, I think, Charlie, I think that is probably the right answer, is trust but verify. Get your information from a trusted source like the manufacturer, and then test it out for yourself and make sure that it works for you. All right, let me see if I can put myself on the stream again. I don't think I can do it without putting both cameras on accident. So I think I take the spotlight off. There I am, 2 times. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, sorry about the 2 cameras. Yeah, you're welcome, Charlie. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm probably going to wrap up this stream soon, since that was pretty much all I had to show you. But comment on this video and let me know if you think this is a good idea, if you think this is something that you would use, and if I should make it public. And then maybe I'll reach out to you, and maybe we can do a user test session together where you try it out and see how it goes for you. Or maybe this is too much work, you know? Maybe the whole point of SubAligner is that it's super simple to just come in here and open some pre-alignment and use it right away. Maybe, you know, that's the thing that saves you time, and so it's not really saving you time if you have to be the one that comes in here and fills out this entire form. Okay, so thank you guys for watching this video and taking a look at this, and sorry about the problems with the audio and now the problem with the camera. I'll get that worked out next time. There was one last thing I was going to say. Yeah, so I guess the after this video or by tomorrow, you should see those L2 presets show up. So I don't think they're there already because of the cache. So if we go to Acoustics, oh, there it is already. Okay, great. Cool. Great. Okay, thanks everybody.